It's Monday, April the 10th, 2017, and this is your Barbados Today evening update. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Thanks for joining us. Topping the news at this hour, if Minister of Education Ronald Jones gets his way, those teachers who took to the streets last week for a march demanding respect from his ministry will not get paid. Jones told the Second Democratic Labour Party Facts Conference at the George Lamming Primary School yesterday evening that only those who worked should be paid.
Please do the work for the money paid, but there's nothing wrong with that. There can't be anything wrong with that. If you work, you should be paid. If you don't work, I don't see how you can be paid. Teachers carry a special responsibility. There's a standing rule in the system. If the employer is the one who causes the action across the negotiating table, you say it to the employer because you caused the action, you caused the grievance, then don't deduct. And as a concession, particularly in the private sector, the employer might say, okay, because I was the one responsible. But where you are responsible, you have to suffer the consequences.
Government authorities here are out to get those employers who continue to sexually harass workers on the job. Minister of Labour Dr. Esther Bayosoku says too many bosses are threatening their employees who refuse to give in to their advances. Soku, who was addressing the same conference, promised to have sexual harassment legislation in place before the next general election, constitutionally due next year, is called.
There are too many people in this country, workers especially, women especially, but not just women. A lot of workers in this country who are afraid to go to work because they are harassed on the job. All right? You may know some. Women, men too, young boys too, young girls too, who go to work and they are afraid to go to work because they're being harassed by the boss. The boss is telling them, I need you to do so and so for me, and if you can't do such and such, well, I ain't sure that you can get that day off you wanted next week, or I ain't sure about that promotion that you were supposed to get, and all of these kinds of things, and they still happen in the 21st century. They've been happening forever. They've been happening from that's been happening from plantation days. When Master say, lie down, you lie down. All right? But it still happens today in the workplace. And we have to ensure that it cannot happen. That at least in our workplaces, our workers are protected. And this legislation is going to be with us very shortly.
Another speaker at that same conference was Minister of Social Care, Steve Blackett. He launched a furious attack on the media, describing it as another tier of the opposition Barbados Labour Party.
Barbados Today, lovely paper, lovely paper. I call it the nighttime nation. They're finding themselves into every constituency that is represented by a Democratic Labour Party member. They can't find the constituencies yet that are represented by Barbados Labour Party. Picking all kind of people, Stewart gone, Kelman gone, Lowe gone. That is their mantra now. Everybody gone, as far as they're concerned, in the Democratic Labour Party. But we don't only have to put up with the Barbados Labour Party in Parliament and outside the Parliament, but there's another tier of opposition in this country called the media. We love you all. We love you all, but you got to call a spade a spade. And we have been struggling over the last, since we came to office in 2008. From the time we walked in the doors of the government headquarters in Bay Street, we've been having to contend with the majority of the media. The majority of the media. Moderators every day, especially on the Voice of Barbados. Part-time moderators and full-time politicians.
Reporters who went to cover yesterday's Christchurch East constituency branch meeting under the auspices of MP Dr. Dennis Lowe were also kicked out by chairperson who told the media practitioners she did not invite them and they should leave. Now, invitations to the meeting were sent out to the various media houses by the General Secretary of the ruling Democratic Labour Party, George Pilgrim, as is normally the case. And just this afternoon, Dr. Lowe informed Barbados Today he will not be speaking to us again after today, having commented on the reports that 170 workers had been recently hired by the National Conservation Commission, an agency for which he is responsible. The Minister of the Environment and Drainage accused Barbados Today of not practicing truth-based journalism and cited last week's publication of our weekly Pulse of the People sample surveys, which found that some of his constituents had given him a low rating for his stewardship. In other news now, a sense of entitlement, high levels of uncertainty, low economic value activities, and high debt levels have been identified as some of the persistent problems hindering economic growth in Barbados and the rest of the region. The assessment has come from the Executive Director and Professor of Strategy at the Arthur Locke Jack Graduate School of Business, Miguel Carrillo. Carrillo also told the seminar on Barbados' next levels of growth at the Courtyard by Marriott's this morning that the island's bread and butter tourism industry was quickly eroding due to severe competition from other destinations.
Our value proposition is eroding. The attractiveness is eroding, and it's eroding fast. There are other contenders that actually have similar natural endowments like ours, but they have two critical advantages that we don't. Low wages and a very positive service orientation. Here, we wages have an amazing, comparatively speaking, standard of living. But that, if we want to sustain that, we will have to find ways to compete against these other countries that have similar kind of value propositions than us.
In sports, Barbados Davis Cup team created history at the National Tennis Center over the weekend when they defeated Guatemala 3-2 for the very first time. Now, Darian King, this country's #1 lawn tennis player, won both of his singles matches along with the doubles when he teamed up with Hayden Lewis to ensure that Barbados secured a place in the Americas Group 2 final against Venezuela. King described his own win as a breeze.
For me, I guess it was a comfortable match for me. As I could say, we went out there with what we wanted, playing up 2-1 for the doubles. And for me, as I said, I played Christopher throughout my whole career, through future challengers. And he knows how I play, and I know how he plays. I came out much better today, and I guess my game plan worked against him.
King's outstanding performance pushes him from 114 in the world rankings to 112.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Good morning, Phillips & Company, may I help? Oh, certainly. One moment, please. Miss Phillips?
Yeah?
There's a lady on the line from the Nation newspaper who would like to speak with you.
The Nation? Will she go on?
Well, they're trying to sell us some ads.
Look, don't make me laugh this morning. Ads in the Nation? They're real expensive, and for one year, nobody ain't buying them papers no more. Nobody want to steal news. I hear reading Barbados Today online for free. So I tell she thanks for calling, but no thanks. We just advertising Barbados Today, families. Tell she is Barbados Today all the way.
Okay, I'll pass on the message. Ma'am, are you still there? Oh, she put it down.
The Barbados Today, news you can trust.
Welcome back with news from the region now. Firefighters were this afternoon trying to extinguish a blaze at the Ministry of Social Development and Family Services building in Trinidad. The blaze started at the adjacent building of the ministry, which was ravaged by another fire mere weeks ago. Citizens were being urged to stay away from the corner of the Abercrombie and Duke Street to avoid the cause of heavy traffic, or any further disruptions, while the officials attempted to extinguish the fire. And on the international scene, a man opened fire with a pistol in a classroom at a Southern California elementary school today, fatally shooting a woman presumed to be the teacher and wounding 2 children before killing himself. Police said the 2 students were not believed to have been targeted by the gunman, but were wounded because of their close proximity to the slain woman.
Police say 2 adults are dead following a classroom shooting at North Park Elementary School in San Bernardino, California. They say the shooting was initially believed to be a murder-suicide. The shooter is believed to be one of the deceased. 2 children were injured and have been hospitalized. The incident rocking the city that just 16 months ago experienced a mass shooting by a couple inspired by Islamic extremism. They opened fire at a holiday party, killing 14 people and wounding 22. Details of this latest incident are still emerging.
And that's news and the sports, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. Also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook. We are also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, our screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you, as well as Channel 99 on Flow TV and Mix 96.9 FM. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Have a fantastic evening.